Hello, denizens of the universe. I'm the Romance Scrooge, and today I'm joined by
Enlightened robot.
And Essa Nobody.
Hello, denizens of the universe. I'm the Romance.
I swore my sound was off. It was on, but the echo's over.
Okay, so just going to go ahead and rip off this painful band-aid and start out with the most quote-unquote controversial subject, the new Thundercats reboot.
Thundercats roar.
Thundercats.
I mean, like, okay, so like if you guys like pitch in at any time here, because I'm not like emotionally attached to either the original show or the reboot. But if you are to like ask me about like what's going on and its art style, I'd have to say it seems innocent enough. I think it deserves a chance. That's just me though. I saw the opening. I saw the opening online, and it's like, there's a little bit of passion there. It looks like some other cartoons out there. I'm not gonna deny that, but it looks like there is, a certain amount of effort being placed into the show, and for that, I'm actually kind of interested to see where it goes.
Yeah, I saw that behind the scenes video, and the showrunner talking about how not only they're going to do comedy but also action, and like every step towards comedy will take in that 2 steps towards action. But at the same time, it's like, okay, if you're wanting to make this more of an action series, couldn't you have chosen a less comedy-centered art style?
I kind of think they're going to like try to make it kind of like OKKO, because OKKO is also a very comedy focused show, but it has so much of the stylized action sequences that it actually has a TVY7 FV rating as opposed to TVY7. So
it's also a parody of all those action series like 80s and 90s shows, along with various video games and all that. So the variations in the styles for OKKO make sense in the world, considering it's a big old parody.
Maybe a bit easier to go into a show like this with that kind of mindset.
it's called as a parody.
Yeah. To be honest, I didn't know about this until I started kind of poking around on Twitter, saw it popping up all over the place, and just what kind of controversy sprung from it. Personally, I don't have an emotional attachment to Thundercats either. I haven't really watched an episode of the original or the 2011 reboot. The general impression I get as somebody from the outside looking in, I've I kind of discussed the original Thundercats with my boyfriend. He comes from a background where he calls himself a second generation nerd. So I think his dad was one of the people who'd have nostalgia for the original Thundercats, 80s cartoons, that kind of thing. My boyfriend has some attachment to the 80s version of Transformers. And his take on general overview or how people would see Thundercats is that compared to other 80s cartoons, the art style was a couple of steps ahead, and if you look at the character designs for it, the character designs are very well executed and polished. I've seen other people talking about the show, and supposedly it tackled some more serious or it tackled themes and subjects that other 80s cartoons wouldn't at the time. Like, it was just one of the better cartoons in that particular spate of cartoons that came out. And from general discussions I've seen about the 2011 cartoon, is that, well, I can't really say much about it other than the fact that they went with an anime-esque style. they were probably trying to pay some homage to the original Thundercats and still make it its own thing. It seems like it's in the same storehouse as something like Legend of Korra, the Voltron reboot, etc., where I could see that paying homage or being a fairly faithful love letter to the original. But the stylization is distinctive enough that it could be its own thing. It could be its own. Again, this is somebody from the outside looking in, looking at people's general reactions and impressions about these other series. And then seeing that particular consensus, it's understandable that when something like Thundercats Roar comes in, it is a major, major deviation from other takes on the series. Honestly, I'm willing to give it a chance and see where it goes, since I don't really have any attachment to the original series. And, well, we've really only seen the trailer. When I'm looking at the trailer, I'm focusing on the energy that you see in the animation. How fast everything zips by, what kind of zaniness there is to everything, the expressions, how the characters bop around screen. As somebody that really enjoys OKKO, it's really taking some references or cues from that particular cartoon. And that's probably the biggest reason I'd be willing to give it a chance. If it were to take a similar approach and sort of be a love letter to 80s cartoons and that kind of thing, like breathing new life into something, it may turn out to be a half-decent show.
I think the biggest thing that I'm looking for, and the big thing that I think I wanted to have separating it from, say, Teen Titans Go, is I just kind of want the characters to be, likable. I want there to be a certain amount of heart beneath the characters, because the thing that ultimately turned me off of Teen Titans Go wasn't the fact that it was a comedy-focused version of Teen Titans, but the fact that everyone became a idiotic jerk, and that's what I ended up really hating about Teen Titans Go. I'm thinking based entirely off of how explicitly cutesy this show is going to be, they're going to try to at least have some kind of sappy, happy thing going on with it, which better than being a jerk in my opinion.
Well, the bar is set pretty low, considering the other show.
Yeah, I mean, Teen Titans Go does set the bar pretty low. And now I'm just remembering the movie, but I don't want to talk about the movie. 13 Roget says, the biggest problem to me is how this, along with OKKO, is that it doesn't take its audience seriously. Most of it is, uh-oh, here's a baddie, but it's all lols. I mean, see, now you're comparing it to OKKO, and I actually think, given what OKKO is going for, it actually takes its audience really seriously. That doesn't mean it's a serious show by any chance, but given that OKKO is a show that stars probably one of the youngest coded characters who I've seen in a recent TVY7 cartoon, and just the entire really flat papery art style and all that stuff. I'd say that OKKO really wants to be a kids show, and more importantly, is succeeding at being a kids show. OKKO is doing what it set out to do perfectly, I think. And there are things about it that other people can disagree with. I know there's some people who just don't like the art style, or who who think like some of the characters might be what's called a little bit over sexualized or something. But for the most part, this show seems to ultimately be doing what it wants to be doing. That's just my take on it, though.
In regards to OKKO, personally, I'm not a big fan of the art style, but what keeps me coming back, or what keeps me watching, is what they do with the characters, story writing, and how fantastic some of the fight choreography can be. Like, what they can do when they can squash and stretch the characters in certain ways. The show comes across as... I'm not going to deny that it's a bright, fun, lighthearted show, but there are certain scenes and certain character moments that subvert things a little bit. I think it's meant to have some parody elements to it and playfully poke fun at the source material that inspire the creators and writers behind the show, such as 90s video games, Street Fighter, shonen anime, just this great big collage that came together to make it what it is. Now, this next comparison I'm going to be making, it's not a one-for-one, but it seems, when I think of shows that come across as a love letter, homage, or kind of slight parody of what they were inspired by, Starverse is in sort of the same storehouse. It started out kind of poking fun at magical girl tropes. The stylization for the show is a blend between more American and Western cartoons, current trends in animation, and big anime eyes. It took all that inspiration, sort of subverted classic anime tropes or viewer expectations, and then got to the point where it's pretty much its own thing. It's become its own unique, interesting thing. Now, I'm just using that as a basis for... I think OKKO, it's not the same kind of creature as what Starverses is. It's always going to be a parody and comedy, first and foremost, but it does interesting things with some of the more over-the-top ridiculous elements. Like, there's heart behind it. There's subversion, like just... That's just my personal take on it. And looking at some of the comments here, to be honest, 13 Roget, I'm with you on that. Yeah, thinking about some of the Thundercats videos I've seen, or what some other concerns and such about Cartoon Network I've seen pop up, definitely lacking a straight, serious action show. I've actually discussed this with... I'm sorry I mentioned this a lot, but I tend to discuss cartoons with my boyfriend pretty often. You really don't have a straight... You're right, there isn't really a straight, serious action show anymore. Well, not on the TV network, but you're more likely to find more straight action-oriented shows on Netflix or otherwise. Like, I'd say Voltron is in that particular storehouse. It's just, you're more likely to find them somewhere else besides big networks like Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon.
Yeah, there's also Todd. There's also Troll Hunters and Castlevania, though I've seen neither of them. I was actually going to
Castlevania is like 4 to 6 episodes long.
It is?
Yeah.
I've never seen it, so I don't know. I could be completely wrong about everything.
They're like half-an-hour episodes. There's 4 to 6 episodes, and they're all really, they're really good, and they set up the world and the danger and all that. I would recommend giving it a watch, although make sure there were no children around because it can get a bit gory.
Yeah, I think the big thing is like, okay, so with a lot of
episode 1.
A lot of action shows, and when I say action shows, I am going to make a distinction between action shows and, say, adventure shows akin to Starverse, The Forces of Evil, or Gravity Falls, because those are shows that have a lot of quote-unquote action in them, as well as ongoing storylines. But the difference is that action shows are usually meant to, they focus on fighting, superpowers, swords, that kind of stuff. Whereas well, a lot of the adventure shows are also adventure comedies. Like that's straight up just they're almost always adventure comedies, and rarely just excuse me, straight adventures. But I think what a lot of networks are seeing nowadays is that this is going to be this is going to be something that a lot of people are just going to have to accept. But a lot of people seem to be under agreement that the reason why action shows are not showing up on network television anymore is because they're not doing nearly as well as people want it to. The ones that always do well on cable television, at least from what I've looked up and from what I've heard, are always the shows that you can air out of order, and the ones that have you can jump into the story at pretty much at any point in time and not be too confused, and also the ones that at the very least you can laugh at it. And I think I think that's the reason why. And I think because of that, a lot of networks are, especially Cartoon Network, are turning down straight action shows. With that said, Netflix is fully embracing it, from what I can tell. And I'm trying to put my words together here. The reason why it does better on Netflix is because most people who use Netflix, they can watch it at any time. Whenever I'm using Netflix, I tend to be like doing the dishes or something, and I just want something on that's background noise. That's actually how I first started watching Voltron. So it's easier to watch it there, whereas like on network television, you have to be there at a specific time, and nobody likes doing that. That's just what I've been hearing.
I remember back in the olden days. Toonami would re-air, like the way Toonami would do Dragon Ball Z is that they would start at the beginning, go up to the current episode, and then just restart. And so if you wanted to catch up, all you'd have to do was wait till they finished catching up to it, and then just rewatch, and then watch the episodes you didn't catch. And that's a bit of a problem that a lot of these channels are having, is that they want to air these out of order, but at the same time, if there's a plot in the show, you kind of need to have them air consecutively, day to day or week to week or whatever, in some semblance of an order. Like if there's a mystery, if the show's a mystery, it wouldn't do well for the show to for the studio to air like the episode, like episode 3, episode 5, then the episode where the mystery is revealed, and then episode 7. Like that doesn't really make sense, especially if the episode the mystery is revealed is like episode 15. Then going back, just doing it in random order just doesn't work. So what a lot of these channels need to remember is, air them in order, air them consistently.
Yeah, I think you can
still have your comedy, but you should also, remember how certain shows work or how stories work.
Trying to remember the name of a specific YouTuber. There was this one YouTuber who actually did who actually said something really interesting about the people who are getting mad at both Teen Titans Go and Teen Titans Roar. And look, I am
Teen Titans Roar.
Teen Titans Roar. Did I say Teen Titans Roar?
Aye.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Thundercats Roar.
Thus it shall be called, and thus it shall be named.
Hey, they're only calling it Thundercats Roar because no one at Cartoon Network has the balls to call it Thundercats Ho.
It's Thundercats Ho.
But
oh my god.
Who are the people who are complaining about Thundercats Roar, and who are the people who are complaining about Teen Titans Go? When you actually look at who seems to be complaining the most, Cartoon Network doesn't exactly value adult watchers' opinions. It's not to say that our opinions are invalid. I will argue till the end of the day about cartoons, but Cartoon Network's not going to change because I, as a 23-year-old, don't like something on their channel.
However, there is a way for both the studio and the writers and the animators to include the older audiences. Like, for instance, and this is probably a poor example, but in the last couple seasons in Friendship is Magic, they've included Derpy in the background, and she's a fan favorite. And not only have they included Derpy more often in the background, but also doing certain jokes. And in one of the latest episodes, it was a accepted fan headcanon for everyone that Derpy worked at the mail office. And in a current episode that aired, Derpy was working in the mail So the writers in the studio were able to make a reference for the older audience, but also keep it to the target demographic.
Fair, but here's another thing. I think a lot of networks, if a show gets a huge adult following as well as a kid following, they're not going to complain about the adult following. But if someone gets a huge kid following but doesn't get the adult following that they like, they're not going to care about the adults' opinions at all.
Or you could be like DC, and if you've got a sizable female following, then you instantly cancel the show.
That was stupid. I'm not going to deny that. There's nothing I can argue there. That was just a stupid thing.
2 good shows canceled just because there were more women fans than there were men fans. But the girls don't buy the toys. No, DC, they do.
Yeah, well, when Disney XD first started, the reason why Disney XD was a thing is because Disney Channel kept getting too many didn't get enough male viewers as they wanted, and they wanted to have their own channel that they could use to get guys watching the shows.
Yeah.
It did not work.
Yeah, considering the fact that in order to obtain Disney XD, you had to pay extra for the channel.
Yeah.
All they would have to do is just stop airing so many tween comedy romance dramas on Disney Channel. That's all they would have had to have done to get more of the younger male audience.
Yeah. I think Disney has learned a lesson, though, based off some of the cartoons that they have scheduled to be putting up on the Disney Channel and Disney XD. Actually, this is just my own probably wrong predictions about things, but I don't think Disney XD is going to last too much longer in the future. They're probably going to rebrand it again because, before Disney XD, it was Jetix. And before it was Jetix, it was Toon Disney. I think they're going to undergo another rebranding at some point in the near future because, well, first off, all the Disney XD shows are moving over to Disney Channel. And also, some of the shows that look like they would have been Disney XD shows are premiering on Disney Channel. I can't remember.
That is fantastic. Very happy to hear that.
Yeah, so what I think is going on, the shows the big breakout shows for Disney XD, Gravity Falls is the obvious one. Starverse is also a really big one. And I think because of the trends that those 2 shows started, we are going to be seeing very specifically on the Disney Channel more not quite young adult adventure adventure comedy series. Things that are like diet Harry Potter, I guess, is probably the best way of putting it. No, that doesn't make sense, does it? Harry Potter was made for kids. I say
Harry Potter grew up with this audience.
Yeah.
It started out as a fun fantasy adventure for kids, and then it grew up with the kids and started tackling more serious subject matter. And I can't really say too much about Harry Potter, but it definitely grew up with this audience. In regards to what the newer cartoons seem like, they seem to be kind of in the same area as what Starverses and Gravity Falls are in regards to overall theme, tone, and even a little bit of the stylization. But kind of spooky, creepy, young adult character, sort of straddling the line between this is going to appeal to younger kids and maybe a slightly older demographic. Seems like Disney figured out that preteens and young adults like cartoons. Let's put out a few more in that general direction.
I also see this as a sign as Disney accepting the fact that little girls like watching their shows. I mean, if Star vs. the Forces of Evil, a show that is, even though there is definitely a unisex appeal to the show, especially in the form of Marco Diaz himself, the show, if you look at it from like a merchandising perspective and what kind of demographic it was initially trying to hit, Star vs. is basically a girl show. And I think Disney is finally just accepting that the demographic that they do best with are little girls. So, there's always that.
I will make the argument that Star vs. has a bigger peripheral audience. I know a mid-20-something that will buy anything Star vs. if he has the money. Not naming names here.
I mean, I'm in the same boat. It has a periphery demographic. It has a huge periphery demographic. But it's still, the periphery demographic is not its target audience.
No, definitely not. Which is why I can't complain about the teen romance drama and stuff they put in there. I rant about it anyway because I'm like, if I were a preteen, I would have been more interested in what Eclipsa was doing than the Star Code stuff too. But yeah, different can of worms entirely. I've ranted about that to the ends of the earth. Don't need to continue.
My siblings, who actually are in the target demographic of Star vs. the Forces of Evil, while we were this week, while we were staying at this little vacation cabin that we have, they had a few friends over. They were marathoning Star vs. the Forces of Evil. It was they were re-airing the final episodes of the most recent season, and everything that they were talking about, a lot of them were talking about the plot and stuff, but some of the big things that kept being brought up, including my little brother, I should mention, was the shipping. It's what people their age do. It's what they talk about when it comes to shows like this.
Okay, yeah, I'm very out of the loop with this stuff. Hell, I talk about the shipping. That's my favorite thing to... I'm just gonna stop right there.
Yeah. Also, I used their watching of that show as an excuse to get myself caught up on it. And oh my god, that ending. I'm late on it, of course. But oh my god, that ending. I love the show so much.
Oh, the one with Globgore?
Yeah.
Globgore!
300 years will give you such a crick in the neck.
And then... Yeah. Austin Smedley says, now I'm feeling nostalgic for the shows that used to air on Jetix. I was in, I think I was late in middle school and early high school when I was watching Jetix. Believe it or not, the main shows that I watched on there all the time were all of the really old Marvel cartoons that I really that's actually where I first discovered, hey, you know what? I think Disney is going to buy out Marvel soon. Next thing you know, Disney buys Marvel. Yes, that's what I remember. I also remember watching Power Rangers for a while and then was like, I feel like the show is getting worse with each new iteration. Like, I don't know. I suppose there are people who are always like fans of like. I'm trying to remember the one. It was Dino Thunder, I think, was where I left it off.
Same.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I watch Linkara's retrospective of the series whenever he releases a new one on those rare occasions.
Can't really say much about Power Rangers. Okay, I just want to make this ridiculous comment. I think I have found myself drawn towards Red Action in OKKO, and when I think about it, the biggest reason is that she's a Red Power Ranger! She's the female Red Power Ranger, and I remember as a kid, I was always so bummed that there was never a lead Red Power Ranger that was a gal.
Now you have an all-female team of Power Rangers in OKKO.
I know it's a parody and stuff, but that's a thing. That's a thing for me. To be fair, there was a female Power Ranger or a lead or a team lead in a later season. I have been meaning to watch that particular season to see how that character played out or what she did. But this isn't one of the seasons that I didn't really keep too many tabs on.
I think that was probably like Ninja something or other. I just remember it from Linkara's videos.
There was another iteration that was some kind of Power Rangers Future Force or whatever, where it was in the future and they pretty much had a anthropomorphic wolf guy that told them, hey, you need to go... Oh, SPD Force. There was a female Red Power Ranger and SPD Force. And God, I'm such a big nerd to know this.
I'm trying to remember Power Rangers, and I know for a fact I watched it. I watched it quite a bit. I remember... Okay, here's the specific thing I remember. I remember that by the time they got to that ninja show, they kept every time they had their mask off, they were always on this one specific set. And I was like, that is really if I had the vocabulary I had now, I'd be saying this in my head. That is really breaking my immersion in the show. I feel like they are filming this part separately than everything else.
Okay, to be fair, if you look at the original Power Ranger series, they were using stock footage from the Sentai series over in Japan. That was the epitome of lazy and trying to sew together what they filmed over here in the US with stock footage from the Japanese series. This is the case for the longest time. Power Rangers has never been a high-budget, high-production show. Part of the appeal of it is the camp value and over-the-top stuff. And the fact that, all the monsters are just guys in costumes. That's part of the fun for me, personally.
Yeah. I was told... Okay, I'm going to agree with you on the camp value thing. In the very first series, though, I recall a few... I remember rewatching one of the episodes. I noticed that they actually did try to integrate some of the mask off. We're not using stock image, original footage stuff. they really did try to integrate that into the plot. And not only did they do that, they also had a few action scenes that were filmed purely in the United States. I don't think they did that in the Ninja one. But then again, we're also talking about a show. We're also talking about a show that I haven't watched in years, so I don't know. If I'm wrong about something, please call me out.
I'll say this much. I think I know what ninja series you're talking about. Tried sitting down and watching it one time, and oh man, the acting was so bad. Not that you have grade A actors in most of the iterations in general, but at least they're trying. At least they're trying to give some kind of performance in most of them. These guys, they were wooden. You could have swapped them out with cardboard cutouts, and you wouldn't have much of a difference. That's the thing that turned me off from giving it a chance personally. Otherwise, I would have been like, hell yeah, can't value. Let's give this a chance.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's also like the different... No, hold on. I getting my vocabulary confused. Forget what I was about to say. It does not make sense that I was thinking of it. Dave Filoni. Who is Dave Filoni? I do not know who Dave Filoni is.
Same here.
Dave Filoni is an American animation director, voice actor, television writer, television producer, film director, and animator. He is most known for his work on Avatar: The Last Airbender and Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Okay. And based off the comment that I'm looking at, this is 13 Roget. Dave, Star Wars Resistance is also showing on Disney, and with the recent cratering in Solo, expect that show to be shoveled to Disney Channel this fall. Dave Filoni is also in charge of this one as well as Rebels, so I have hope. Oh, so like Star Wars being put on Disney Channel? I hope so, I guess. That'd be weird, but that'd be cool. Like, I want that to happen, but I don't know. Star Wars on Disney Channel, I'm just thinking of like the branding that Disney Channel has made for itself.
Coming this fall on Disney Channel, this young alien rebel is going to high school.
Oh God, no! Don't give him ideas for a bad teen sitcom. I can just see it now. Some high school gal in a Xenon type getup, and her best friend is a Chewbacca type Bella, and her teacher's Han Solo, and it's bad teen sitcom hijinks.
Youngling Academy.
Just for the record, though,
Youngling Academy, quick, get Anakin Skywalker to cancel it.
Anakin Skywalker is the worst teacher. Killed everyone.
Nah. The direction Disney's going with cartoons and stuff, it doesn't seem very likely that they'd shovel out another. But then again, okay, this is gonna sound horrible. They did greenlight fish hooks, so. I guess the mean comment or dig I'm trying to say is I wouldn't put it past Disney to have at least one milquetoast. This premise would work better as a bad live action teen sitcom rather than a cartoon jab.
Well, I mean, if Star Wars ever does appear on Disney Channel, given the direction that Disney Channel is going in, which is to say they're taking all the Disney XD shows and they're putting it on Disney Channel. I'd have to say it's probably just going to be a cartoon. And if it's a cartoon, it's probably going to fit in fine with the rest of the Star Wars universe. Although I should mention, I never watched it, but apparently R2-D2 and C-3PO guest stars on Wizards of Waverly Place. So you never know.
I never watched it either. So, okay, so I have spent a good deal of time trying to find the Disney XD store, and after much backtracking and trying to find and Google searching, I have finally found it to figure out the products that Disney has for their shows on Disney XD. More specifically, Star Versus, Gravity Falls, and Wander Over Yonder. The answer, not a whole lot. And as for...
Damn disappointing.
And as, most of the Star Versus stuff is basically Season 1 design stuff. And screenshot. They don't even have the show's logo on a shirt. At least with Wander Over Yonder, they have the show logo and Lord Dominator's shirts on being sold. They've got more. They got better stuff for Wander Over Yonder than they do with Star Versus, and hell, they even got better Gravity Falls stuff. They even have some of Mabel's sweater designs. Unfortunately, none of them on a sweater.
To be fair, the Gravity Falls stuff makes sense considering it's been a couple years and it's still got a massive following and still a smash hit. So there's been time to up the stuff with the merchandise. But the Star Versus stuff, come on!
Yeah, they still have the Season 1 wand.
Well, I mean,
right for the picking.
I mean, they might just do what they did with Gravity Falls and start releasing all of the merchandise after the show is finished.
I just sent. I just sent a link to the Star Versus section.
As for Wander Over Yonder, there is a hint. There is a rumor going around currently as to what Craig McCracken is doing, and you're not going to believe this right now. This is a rumor. This is a rumor, but it's also a rumor that has some evidence surrounding it. Either of you guys fans of the Gorillaz, or anybody who is in the comments a fan of Gorillaz? Well, a while back, and actually nobody, I do recall I did bring this up to you. A while back, and you're skeptical of this. A while back,
always
Gorillaz was there was news that the Gorillaz band is going to be getting a TV show. There have been no hints as to what channel it's going to be on, but the creator of the show, the creator of the band, Damon Albarn, follows Adult Swim, so that's a very likely place. And more recently, more inexplicably, in a few of what's the name of the Gorillaz artist? Nobody, I can't remember. Damon. There's Damon Albarn and there's Jamie Hewlett. Jamie Hewlett, the illustrator behind the entire series. He put out on his Instagram pictures of the newest member of the Gorillaz replacing Murdoch as bassist, and he is none other than I kid you not, Ace of the Gangrene Gang from the Powerpuff Girls.
Huh?
I am not kidding. The hold on. Okay, so yeah, he put two pictures out. One was a picture of Noodle at some sort of a party along with a so-called friend who looks very suspiciously like Ace. And then the next picture is a close-up of the said character with the Ace card on his jacket. And earlier, before both those pictures were put out, Jamie Hewlett has been posting to Instagram screenshots from the Powerpuff Girls. So by all accounts, everything seems to indicate that this is not a character inspired by Ace, but this is literally Ace from the Powerpuff Girls. And maybe giving a little bit of support to that. What was the what's called in was it I think it was the Clint Eastwood video. In the Clint Eastwood video, 2D is wearing a Mojo Jojo shirt. I could be wrong. I could be thinking this could be from somewhere else. And in the Powerpuff Girls movie, a Gorillaz poster can be found. And apparently in real life, Craig McCracken, Jamie Hewlett, and Damon Albarn are all friends in real life. So it's thought, the rumor going around is that Craig McCracken is helping out with the show. That's just a rumor, though.
We'll see.
Yeah. And I feel like it'd make a little bit more sense if it wasn't for the fact that Powerpuff Girls is still on TV right now as we speak. Like, they haven't canceled the show. It'd be one thing if they were just trying to get like retro hipster points by including this by including an old character, but no, Powerpuff Girls was rebooted. So that's the weird thing.
The biggest question I'd have is, what is the legalese surrounding this? Like, how in the world would they be able to use Ace from the Powerpuff Girls when Cartoon Network pretty much owns the license?
If the show is on Adult Swim, then that's how they get the rights.
That makes sense. I can see Cartoon Network greenlighting that.
Yeah.
Because even though the reboot is a hot dumpster fire, there, I said it. Not gonna go into that, but yeah, one of their biggest franchises. It appeal to the demographic that Adult Swim would. So yeah, if Adult Swim started dropping hints, I'd say that would be the proof.
Yeah, and as far as it's concerned, even though there has been art of it, I'm kind of wondering if this is just an Easter egg. Like what's called Jamie Hewlett is like, hey, hint, hint, guys, guess who I'm working with?
Yeah, I'd put my money on just a reference.
Yeah, because but there are people online who are saying, "Oh no, this guy's the new bassist," and he's appearing on some of the Gorillaz stuff now. Because there's also Gorillaz Summer Festivals 2018. It's a tour poster, and it has a picture of Ace on it as well instead of Murdoch. But yeah, in terms of like inexplicable crossovers I never thought would happen, this is happening.
Yeah, I'll wait to see.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna.
Besides, it's not like Craig McCracken is working on anything else. He should be working on something else, but he isn't.
Both him and Lauren Faust.
Yeah. I don't know, it feels so... I've said this before, but it feels so weird that we have a Powerpuff Girls reboot currently going, and we have an out-of-work Craig McCracken. That feels really weird and surreal to me.
It's just disappointing that Gendy Dexter's Labs / Samurai Jack Tartakovsky has been reduced to working on. I also want to throw in Symbiotic Titan into that title. Has been reduced to working on the Hotel Transylvania series.
Hotel Transylvania 65.
I mean, we did get the Motel. We did get the Samurai Jack reboot at least, and that was nice when it happened.
I'd say that's more of a continuation than a reboot.
Continuation. That is correct. My bad. I'm actually looking him up to see if he's been up to anything.
Curse you! Carter didn't work in your writing and your tax writing off of Symbiotic Titan.
Yeah,
fun fact. Gendy Tartakovsky was a timing director on the Steven Universe pilot.
Yeah, Rebecca Sugar mentioned him in both the Steven Universe podcast and in the Steven Universe Art and Artifacts art book.
I mean, according to Craig McCracken, so this is word of Dante out here. Gendy Tartakovsky doesn't exactly work for Sony anymore, so he's out of the job too. Oh man, this just kind of sucks. These people need jobs. Gosh darn it.
Are you 100% sure that they're not currently working on anything and just can't disclose or share any details about the projects?
That's probably what's going on.
Because I highly doubt big names like that would stay out of work for long, or they wouldn't be working on something.
Yeah.
That's just one of those things that I'd be really, really on the fence on. That you got to keep all this stuff on the DL. It's like, oh, but I'm working on this totally awesome show and I want to tell people about it. No, you can't say anything yet. No.
I know the feeling. It is a painful, painful feeling. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Wink, wink, Bob's your uncle. Rare.
Will, that's exactly it. This is a project that he can't talk about because it's one of those things that... it's one of those things that I'm guessing you're contractually bound to say that you... I don't know the full legal stuff behind this, just that I can't talk about it right now. I'm not personally involved or working on this. This is Robot's project.
That's the joke.
God. I just walked right into a dumb Captain Obvious comment. I swear, I do this all the time. In real life, I stick my foot in my mouth at least 6 times a day with different comments I make.
Yeah, sarcasm's kind of hard to read. All right.
No, what happened here, in actuality, this is the total 100% truth here, Will Powell, is Netflix came right up to my door, and they asked me personally to create a cartoon based off of Shaun of the Dead. That is exactly what happened. 100%.
Believe it or not. Just gonna share those Dianco pics. All right, let's see. Next on the list would be, I don't know.
Okay.
Let's see. What would be next on the list?
I'm just going to go for awkward transition, and since the other part of the plan for podcast was discussing OKKO, let's just get right into that.
Okay, KO, we'll fight to the end. You are my best friend. Let's be heroes.
Okay.
Oh, what, nobody? You don't like the fact that I'm taking over for you? I'm kidding.
Nah, I'm covering for Brain Teaser singing since Brain Teaser hasn't been in a while.
Yeah, I'm guessing she's been busy or something.
But let's start with the show. Okay, KO.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm going to go ahead and bring up a list of episodes so I can figure out which episodes I did and didn't see.
I've also got my notes. Season 2.
Yeah. This show has been This show has been pumping out so much content in such a short amount of time. I kind of lost track of which episode is the newest.
The newest one would be Dindy's Power.
Oh, okay. That was the coding episode, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. That was cute. I liked that episode. I did watch that one. I watched Dindy's Power.
Wait, I think I'm missing something in my notes.
I watched Lord Cowboy Daryl, and I watched Seasons Change. So I skipped over a lot of them. Wow.
We'll start out with the season 1 finale. I honestly wasn't expecting them to go the route of we're going to change who the major antagonist is. Like, Lord Boxman literally steps down out of the picture and Daryl steps up. I was not expecting him to go that route.
I thought that was awesome. I don't know, I guess in shows like this, there's always, at some point, there's always going to be like a change in a villain. It's usually it's usually someone who steps up. I think they did that with if you recall, they did that with Star Versus with Ludo and Toffee.
Toffee was built up to. To be honest, I was expecting Venomous to take over as the big bad, or he's still technically the big overarching bad. I just wasn't expecting him to keep the B plot with a major antagonist going. I was expecting Boxman to just phase out of the picture and for more focus to slowly shift towards Venomous.
But seeing Cowboy Daryl take over as villain, and his weird hot cold I'm going to make my dad proud by not making my dad proud type of personality with it. It was unexpected, but I love it. I don't know. I thought that was a great change of pace for the show, personally.
Oh, definitely. It was nice to see one of the bots get some kind of character development or have something. to be honest, I'm kind of hoping that the show pushes Shannon and especially Raymond a little bit more in an interesting or unique direction. Like, that's something a little bit out of the box. Like, is there a little bit more to them than just attacking the plaza? Or
I'd like to see more of Ernesto.
oh, definitely.
Or at least I just want his battle music to be available for purchase.
I have to agree with you on that. It's catchy as hell.
Also, I looked at the list. My notes are incomplete. I forgot the episode Point to the Plaza. No. My notes are incomplete.
And major highlights for that one that I can think of. Significant character development for Enid.
Thanks. And we get to see present day Foxtail.
Yeah, they also introduced the plot thread of Gar has some unfinished business with Point and kind of a rivalry / grudge against Foxtail. I think with where they ended on that particular episode, Elodie's probably going to be coming back into the picture fairly soon.
She is. I'm looking at the list of upcoming episodes. In July 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. God damn it, it's another bomb. Episode Bittersweet Rivals. Enid is forced to confront lingering issues from a past friendship. This is an episode set after the episode Wisdom, Strength, and Charisma. When Enid goes to a new school, KO sets out to make sure she fits in.
They're really doubling down on this plot. Sounds like it anyway.
More than likely, though whilst I prefer Enid with red action, I do want to see more of Elodie and what her character is.
Same here. To be honest, the way that particular relationship is built up, I don't see anything romantic coming from that. I see it as just Enid resolving things with an old friend. I never got... I always saw it as Elodie was one of the first people to reach out to Enid, and their connection was based more on she was helping Enid come out of her shell, something like that. Like, kind of a sisterly bond. People can argue with me on this if you want. That's just how I interpreted it. I see it as strictly platonic.
I'm inclined to believe you on that, actually. The biggest thing is, they have... Okay, so... I don't know. I suppose this goes into, like, shipping territory currently. But you have, the character who they have set up the most likely for, hold on. Is everybody still there? Did I just get cut out? Or... Okay, just making sure. The way the show seems to be set up, they already have they have a character who they seem to be setting up quite a lot of really heavy ship teasing to in red action. And they also have another character who can serve but probably won't be used too much as a romantic rival in Rad, and that they have dated in the past, but they're no longer together. I think in terms of just trying to keep your cast as diverse as possible, I think Elodie really is just going to be a friend. Just because the other characters have already been, that type of character in the story have already been used.
In regards to any kind of romantic tension there might be between Rad and Enid, I'm pretty sure that they closed the book on the possibility of that being canon in the first place. I'd be curious to see an episode where Rad started getting kind of jealous of Rad and Enid hanging out more, because, okay, this is purely fan banned stuff on my part or something I personally want. But the way I see it, Rad is pretty much, or Enid is pretty much Rad's best friend, or damn close to it. I'd really like to see an episode tackling how we deal with somebody else encroaching on Enid's time, or just kind of following up a bit more on what they established in Second First Date, just doing more with that particular dynamic. That's speaking from the perspective of fan wishlist stuff, though, because I think there's a lot of potential in Rad being kind of jealous of Red in the whole I want to spend more time with my friend kind of thing, like them trying to. I don't know.
Especially when you consider that Rad looks up to Red in the cool factor.
Oh yeah. Actually, thinking about it, the way that they set up Rad and Red, like how they compete with each other, Red pretty much embodies what Rad wishes he could be, or what he tries to emulate with the cool guy image. Like the over-the-top jock persona, saying, I'm so cool, I'm so macho. Things that seem a bit more... It just comes naturally to Red when you see her in action. She's... pun not intended. Pun not... But she comes across as pretty confident, reckless, really classic masculine machismo kind of thing. She pretty much embodies the exact image of what Rad wishes he could be. There's interesting potential in having those two contrast each other, or another episode where it be playing some kind of game of compare and contrast, and might do more with Rad realizing that it's not a good idea to keep doubling down on the macho image, coming to terms with the fact that he does have some feminine tendencies, that he is okay. I'm for lack of a better description, he's pretty much metro. He's a metrosexual. He's a fairly effeminate male with that leans more towards traditionally feminine interests, and that's okay.
Right.
At the very least, it'd give the writer of the episode the option to do some sort of play on the characters' names being one letter apart, Red versus Rad or something like that.
Oh, kind of like the promise ring joke in Danny Phantom. Whenever, like, Danny's dad had a promise ring engraved with Sam's name, but everyone saw it upside down, so it's like, who's Wes?
Something like that.
But yeah, an episode similar to Hope This Flies, where really, honestly, Red only started shit with Rad because Enid complimented Rad on his new car, which Dindy souped up, and then Red got like super jealous and was like, yeah, that's nice and all, but my vehicle's from the future, so it's like, Red, come on, jealousy does not become you.
So I may not be too off base, except it may not be just Rad showing a little bit of jealousy here. like there's certain elements of what kind of friendship Rad and Enid have that Red might be jealous of.
Hanging out in the danger zone, beating up monsters, and dealing and helping the Hue troop.
Marco's harem is so old hat. The new harem is totally Enid's harem. That's the new black.
And now I have an idea.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to talk over you.
Well, now I just have an idea of Enid and Elodie burying the hatchet and they're just at the Point Academy, and then Red comes up. It's like, oh, hey, brought you lunch. And chances are, just Elodie's like jealous, like look, like, oh, come on, really, Enid? And then Red's smug look.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, considering how cool Red supposedly is, I would probably think that Elodie would also be a follower in social trends. And if Red and Enid have been hanging out more, then there's probably a good number of pictures of Red and Enid hanging out that Elodie probably saw.
Yeah, not really sure how an interaction with those two would play out. I could, right now, since Enid and Elodie are on bad or kind of tense terms, I could see Elodie showing up. Enid's probably given Red some context of what their background was at what Elodie did, and I could see Red wanting to pick a fight. Like,
so then you have the Power Ranger versus the magical shoujo girl.
yeah, I think the question. Okay, I'm kind of curious as to what would Enid's reaction be. Would she just sit back and watch, or would she actually try to stop her? I'm leaning more towards she'd probably sit back and watch. Though I guess it depends on the circumstances. I don't know.
I mean, if it was a sparring match, like a little friendly sparring match, which I think Red would probably instigate, which I probably should rewatch the Elodie episode to see if Red is, and chances are Red is in the crowd. But I don't know. I mean, I guess it would also depend on how much Enid has told Red about her past.
True. Even though Enid is pretty fond of Red, the most recent episode definitely shows that she's just now kind of opening up and becoming a little bit more vulnerable with her. Like, she was really hesitant to admit that she just wanted Red to hang back and hang out with her. Like, there's still a little bit of self-consciousness on her part.
Yeah, she doesn't want to appear too clingy or, like... What was it in my notes? Yeah. So, which... Yeah, Enid's trying to stay aloof, but also try and keep Red close. No. Yeah, let's see, my notes for Red action to the future. I'm going to have to, if they're going to keep making these time travel movie puns, then, oh boy, wonder what the next one is. Let's see, Red helping during Red's day off. Enid doesn't want to seem clingy. Red gets called to help in the future war. Which, I don't know about anyone else, but it kind of seems as though Yellow Technique wanted to separate Red and Enid.
Yeah, there's a little bit of tension there.
And even in the future, whenever Red and Enid were fighting, Yellow kind of had a bit of a neutral to smirk expression.
This literally just happened. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but an awkward thing just seriously happened. I was searching Enid on Tumblr to see if there was anything I had to say about anything recently.
Safe search.
Yeah, I should have done that because as soon as I searched Enid, well, first off, all of the not safe for work stuff came up, and then my little brother came in, and I was like, shh. So I was quietly panicking while you guys were talking. Just thought you guys should know.
Oh man. Oh man, are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm fine. It was it was an extreme moment of silent panic, but that happened. Yeah.
I'm not seeing much.
Oh my god.
Like I went ahead and typed it in as well, but I'm not seeing much.
Well, I wasn't at the top of the page is the thing.
Ah, that's probably what it is.
Because the most popular ones obviously aren't going to be the not safe for work stuff. But then the further you go down, you'll see a little bit more fan service. And then I got to a point on the page where it was pretty much all born, and I was like, "Argh." So yeah, that literally happened.
Oh, oh my. Oh, jeez.
Yeah. But
Save search.
no, he didn't catch it. I very haphazardly lifted my arm above the screen and then backface, and then and then back buttoned. It was very obvious in retrospect, but I don't think he cared.
I'm seeing a funny post of someone comparing Enid's reaction to older Red to Star's reaction to older Marco, with the caption, "That feel when you realize your friend becomes even hotter in the future."
Fairly accurate description, except Star's was a little bit more over the top and blatant. Enid was like, "Oh my god, she's hot." Wasn't quite sure if it would be appropriate to show too much on her face or trying to dial it back.
I'm changing the subject, but shouldn't Marco be ripped? Because I just remembered, in the in one of the final episodes of Star Versus that they showed off, Star actually went and checked to see if Marco had abs yet, and apparently he didn't.
Nope.
Well, look at what
change the character model.
What?
Look at what kind of diet Marco eats. He can exercise. I don't know. I just don't see Marco going through the kind of regimen in 5 to 6 months to. Okay, yeah. Didn't want to change the character model. Seems a lot more likely. Also, it's a lot funnier if there aren't ads.
That's fair. That's fair. I was just thinking because it was established it was established in the first episode that he knew karate. And he's pretty active. He knows how to hold himself in a fight. And even if he's not super muscular, you'd expect him to at least be, toned. But then again, the cartoon's art style is already pretty simple anyway, so it probably doesn't matter too much. And I was just under the impression the entire time that Marco actually was toned underneath the hoodie, but because the art style was the way it is, we didn't just see it.
I could imagine it be whenever Marco decides to take being a knight or a squire seriously and starts training with Higgs and the other squires, then he'll get one ab. By either the end of the episode or halfway through the season.
One ab, and he'll be as proud of that as he was of his one chest hair in that one scene in that one episode.
You got one ab.
Which it's like, okay, so he's super proud of his chest hair, and yet his older version, smooth chest.
Does he have a
Maybe
smooth
he
chest?
shaves? I don't know. That is a legit question. He would have a lot of chest hair because if you look at Raphael, he's got the chest hair. Marco definitely inherited that.
No, all of the hair is on his chin. He does not have chest hair. For some reason, I had in my head that he had chest hair. I guess I was thinking of Raphael.
Yep, Raphael's the one with the chest hair.
Yeah.
For now.
By the way, I'm actually really happy. Just this is a little bit tangential to everything, but I'm actually really happy with the model that they use for Marco's adult body because one of the things that always weirds me out is thinking, okay, if these characters ever become adults, what are they going to actually look like? Because so often in cartoons, what a lot of people do is they just stretch out the body, and it looks kind of awkward. Phineas and Ferb being a good example of that. Not that it's a bad show or anything, but that's what Phineas and Ferb did, and I was like, that does not work. Marco actually looks like an adult, and I'm happy that they went with that.
Well, an adult that spent 15 years going through various different dimensions, traveling throughout the cosmos, and fighting. Yeah, and fighting. So, had he grown up without those circumstances, then he probably wouldn't look the same.
True. The other option is they wind up making the characters look literally like their parents. Which, I mean, I suppose adult Marco does look a bit like Raphael. Not too much, though.
Well, mine does.
That's right. Yours does, doesn't it?
Well, at least the hair.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna look up that comic now.
Ouch. Which, thinking about it now, since I have a design for that, I guess I could add chest hair. Or not, I don't know.
Your adult Marco does have chest hair. I'm
He does?
looking at him right now.
He does? Which
Yeah,
one?
you drew chest hair. I'm looking at the comic that we wrote.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, the one where the one where Jana and Starfam 13 start a cult of Eclipsa, and Marco is the human sacrifice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was looking at the Married Starkey one, and then the Oh No, He's Hot comic, which I could probably edit that one.
Roget says Marco had chest hair. It got burnt off.
All right, let me just looking. Yes, I did design that version of Marco with chest hair. Huh. I guess certain designs carried through and some didn't. Design. Design talk. Let's see. All right, Will. Oh no, mute from both. Mute, mute, mute. Okay. All right. Okay, let's see.
Sorry, significant other just came home and I'm kind of trying to dodge around the inevitable chair squeak.
Right.
Ate the office chair. And I know you can hear me.
Squeak.
WD-40. WD-40. You need WD-40 for that chair. Can we get off Marco's chest hair? No, let's spend 15 more minutes talking about Marco's chest hair, just for the benefit of Mr. Powell in the comments. Let's discuss how important Marco's chest hair is to the plot and how it's going to save the day for everybody in future episodes.
Shall I live draw an older Marco with chest hair for you, Will?
Okay, that's enough. I'll stop giving you a hard time.
Oh, with the season 2 opener for OKKO, the seasons change, the time skip thing. Who had a better quote unquote redesign?
Oh man, I'm gonna have to go with Enid as a mime. I wasn't expecting that. It threw me for such a loop. I found it freaking hilarious.
I liked Red being a farmer.
That was pretty cute.
Oh, and then like a goth version of Real Magic Skeleton. Oh, and Colwert and Potato being like ninjas or whatever. But that episode, just like KO does not have a time skip. And then the end of the episode reveals that Carol and Mr. Gar are now dating.
I do kind of like how the entire episode was just playfully ribbing at time skips being a trend in big shonen or anime anymore. Just kind of playful ribbing.
Yeah. It's like, this change is permanent. Ain't going back from this. Let's see. Oh, the episode Be a Team. The Nick and Joff episode. Let's see. Nick Army and Joff the Shaolin Monk helping Enid, Rad, and KO get re-establish their friendship. And also kind of soft confirming that they are in fact a couple.
Well, I guess as far as they could push in the forefront anyway.
They also did a little bit of a hint in the episode before that, Plaza Film Festival, with Nick's film being an Edward Scissorhands parody. And Joff being the love interest for that film. Let's see. My Fair Carol. Mr. Gar and Carol going on a date in the danger zone. Of course,
the fact they call that the danger zone. I just think of is it Kenny Loggins that made that song?
Yep.
Every time they say that, I just imagine him singing "Danger Zone."
I know. That was all of the, like, whilst KO, Rad, and Enid are setting up the area in the danger zone for Carol. She's just like, "Oh, this is a beautiful spot. I wonder how you kids found it." Like, I'm pretty sure Enid's just like in the back of her mind, just like, "Yeah." It's like, Well, Red and I probably found this couple places a couple times. We're just hanging out at this spot a couple times. Oh, and I also love the callback to the season 1 Red Action episode with Enid calling certain characters rogue performance artists. Let's see. The worm blowing up, creating an aurora borealis meteor shower. Well, an aurora borealis. An aurora borealis in the danger zone at this time of day. Yes. Let's see. Oh no, mute. Okay.
Is there an OKKO take on the steamed hams meme? That would make my life. I need this.
No, but I'm sure somebody could probably make it. Let's see.
I need this. I need this so I can irritate people with it.
The Sobatical. Textbooks train, the music being a reference to Dumbo. Santa Claus is apparently the principal of KO and Dindy's school.
I love that detail.
Principal Claus, but we only see you once a year. Ernesto's the new teacher. And then we find out that Miss Quantum was actually a villain before she became a teacher. Let's see. Let's all watch the Boxmore show, being a reality show spoof. And we learn more about Mr. Gar's surveillance system. Your world is an illusion. Meta commentary
for that reality show episode.
And
my mom watches reality TV. I playfully poke fun at her, but then I sit down and start watching something like Living with the Kardashians or whatever stupid thing is on, and I get sucked into it. It's so easy to get sucked into this stuff. It's like a train wreck. You can't look away. They captured how easy it is to get sucked into this crap so well.
Yeah.
So accurate.
It is. I mean, luckily, like my computer is set up in the living room, so when someone's watching something, and more than likely, it'll be Hallmark out here. Luckily, I've watched enough MST3K to develop the kind of technique to basically mock these shows.
Yeah.
Which helps me get through them. Let's see. TKO's house. Get to see TKO again. Get to see Shadowy Figure again, but no new information. Though we do get a reference that the writers do know that the fans make Shadowy Figure's obsession with Glorbs into a joke. Get a specific Rim reference, which I'm actually glad for that.
I do want to make a comment about the episode with textbooks and stuff. Really like that one as well. That really, I'm half tempted to send a link to that particular episode to Brain Teaser, or even the Artistic Alpaca, since that really touches on a subject that hit home with quite a few teachers or aspiring teachers. I also really kind of like that bit of backstory that Miss Quantum decided to become a good guy, or sort of gave up being the villain because she liked the idea of being a teacher more. Like, she liked the idea that's what helped her turn her life around. I don't know. I just really...
And we get to see, like, the reason why she's so hard on Dindy is because Dindy makes it hard on Miss Quantum with, like, because Dindy's way ahead of the class. And so Quantum is taking her time to basically create these lessons plans, not only for her class, but also making it hard and challenging for Dindy.
That probably hit home with a few teachers too, since, yeah, I can imagine it would be pretty tough to be given a lesson plan that's supposed to outfit an entire class of kids. But there's that one kid in class that's so far ahead of everybody else that they really need something a bit more challenging. What kind of risks and obstacles would come with accommodating them? Yeah, I'd say the episode comments or gives some interesting commentary on what it's like to be a teacher, or what kinds of challenges teachers face in the workforce. For what kind of show this is, I'd say Quantum is probably going to be your closest to a legitimately sympathetic villain. Like, it's kind of easy to side with her with what she was doing.
She's like if Mrs. Krabappel was a villain or a hero and then became a teacher.
That's actually a pretty apt way to describe it.
Also, her villain name was Bad Apple.
I love that. Her design just... I did find the apple bottom thing a bit odd.
Yes, I saw that and I was like, oh no. No, DeviantArt, no, why?
I don't want to know what fetishists are doing and taking... I don't want to know.
Don't worry. She's such a minor character that, like, I don't think anyone has touched her in that.
Oh, don't worry. They probably have. It just hasn't popped up on DeviantArt yet, or it's in a very, very, very obscure part of the internet. It's out there. It exists. I wouldn't doubt it.
Miss Quantum looks like she's closely related to a background character from The Amazing World Gumball and also Kelly from Star Versus. Just thought I should point that out.
Kinda.
They're all part of the same family of colored... Oh, shoot, not colored. That's not the word I was looking for. Shoot, now someone's going to call me racist. Whoops.
Blue and green hair.
Multicolored. They're in the same they're in the same species of like multicolored characters with weird hair and those specific eyes.
Since Miss Quantum appeared on the show, it has me really curious about for a while, ever since the whole "is Professor Venomous Turbo" thing popped up. I kind of wondered if Professor Venomous's skin tone was along the same lines of, was it a scientific experiment? Was it a result of what happened to Turbo? Like, is this a Dr. Dragon thing where it was a one-off thing, and then Miss Quantum shows up and nope.
Although I can just imagine
That's
that. Although I can just imagine that. It's like, Venomous, I have to ask, what's with the purple skin? Well, you see, Boxman, that's a fantastic question. You see, I believe it was a Tuesday. Now, looking at my notes again, Red Action once again created a time paradox. First, she creates it by going back in time and taking the crystal that started the Hue Troop and then giving it to the future Hue Troop without the original Hue Troop having it. And then now she does it by rewriting a timeline, making it so that way she doesn't go into the future and become a hero, but only till later afterwards. But at least four of the characters know of the other timeline. Red, why? Why must you make time travel paradoxes?
Well, they're parodying Back to the Future every time she appears in an episode. There's gonna be more. Back to the Future is riddled with time paradoxes. You also
Maybe
have
I
the
should-
third one. I'm a nut bar shipper that's perfectly okay with the time-space laws being broken in this series if it means Red and Enid get to stay together. I'm that nut bar shipper. I'm like, yes, I need this. Don't make this a dramatic plot point. These two need to stay together. Red can stay in 21X and marry Enid. I want this to happen. I don't care who says otherwise. I don't care what the creators say. It's my fan, and that's what happens.
I mean, it could all be solved easily. How so? Red and Enid go into the future, stop, win the war quickly, and then bam, they go back to their original time, and well, I guess original by Enid's standpoint, and then bam, bing, bang, boom.
Gosh darn it, Red Action. If it wasn't for you, our planet would still be a planet.
It is kind of funny to think that that the big incentive for Red to keep breaking time-space laws is because she has a crush on a purple-haired ninja.
Yeah, I can just imagine like every quiet moment during the war, just Red being like, I miss Enid. And just the rest of the U Troop is like, we get it! You miss Enid! We get it!
I can see another episode, like, let's say that they actually bite the bullet and make Red Nick canon. Like, an episode where the Hugh Troop sits Red down and they say, Red, you know this gal is from the past, right? This is going to majorly screw up the time stream. I've been entertaining the ridiculous headcanon recently that I know this isn't canon, but I like entertaining the idea that Red's had another couple of girlfriends in other past times before she met Enid. Just she likes to time hop because she's a history nerd or something like that. And there's a couple other gals in the time stream that she's had one-off relationships with or something. I know that's not canon, but I like the idea of that as an AU or something. Just
And then it's just a matter of which famous ladies. Let's see. Dindy's power. It's revealed what Dindy's power is.
I see that they are what's called. Yeah, she can super jump. I see that they are kind of doubling down on the frog comparisons.
Yep. Frog turtle comparisons, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little weird because like I know like when it came to Kappas were more turtle-like than they were frog-like, weren't they?
It all depends on who draws it.
Yeah. Whenever I look at Dendy, I usually get a very distinct frog vibe. Though I suppose her backpack does serve a bit like does function a bit like a turtle shell if you look at it. For the most part, she looks like a frog to me. I think it's her face that gives me the frog vibes.
Although I'd probably have to go back to certain episodes, but I don't think that they've done the. Well, I guess in episodes where she's a focus, they don't do the when Dindy first pops up. It's like Dindy, and then background cheer. Let's see, the episode we learned that Droop knows how to code, so that's nice. A little bit of her personality. Palette cards become gifts. Or open source code, and it's an episode advocating learning how to code.
Always a good lesson. I never learned to code, and because of that, I am suffering, given the position I am currently in. Oh, whatever, it's fine.
I like this episode because I have a partner that is a programmer, really into tinkering and messing around with computers and such. I like the overall message of the episode that coding is something available to everybody. I also kind of like that they were hinting at that Dindy is pro open source.
Yeah. Lord knows we need more open source products in general. Hey, if there happens to be some sort of programmer in our audience as we speak, what we really need is an open source alternative to After Effects, very specifically. Just putting that out there.
Oh, Robot, I might have to get back to you on that. I'll talk to my partner about that and see if there's anything like that. There may be something.
Okay.
You
Thanks.
just gotta look around. He's found some pretty interesting stuff just from sniffing around different. The caveat to looking up something like that, most of the programs he's found are a bit more geared towards someone with Linux installed, like Linux is their main operating system. There's some that you can install on Windows or just about any operating system out there, but it depends on who set it up and that kind of thing. I'm not going to get too much into it because I'm barely scraping the tip of the iceberg. I'm not going to try to explain something I don't know the full ins and outs of.
I'm currently running Windows, and thank God I finally got the Adobe in my suite. There are reasonable replacements for Photoshop. I haven't found one that's a reasonable replacement for Illustrator, but if you work hard enough, you can get that kind of look in Photoshop if you really tried to.
In regards to an alternative to Illustrator, Inkscape is the one that comes up the most often.
Inkscape?
I need to play with that a bit more myself. The biggest reason why I'd say it's worth playing around with is you get vector graphics from that. It can handle vector graphics. It'd be a better idea to figure out how to work with that than continue finagling with Photoshop. If you're specifically looking for Illustrator effects and the ability to get what you can get out of a vector image, yeah.
True. I don't know. Fire Alpaca I find is a really good alternative to Photoshop. And if you want something that's even more similar to Photoshop, Metabang Paint out there is very similar. And then, of course, there's GIMP. GIMP is the one that everybody uses. If they can't go to Photoshop. But I have yet to find a reasonable alternative to Photoshop. And for that matter, I've not yet found a reasonable alternative to Adobe Audition. But I'm pretty sure with that case, I just haven't been looking hard enough. But that's just me. Oh. Hold on, I'm just going through the comments. Just trying to catch up because I feel like I lost something.
Oh no. Will is chronicling his adventures going through stuff on DeviantArt, looking up a minor character on OKKO.
To boldly go where nobody has gone before.
Hey, I haven't been on on the deep part of DA in a long time.
You're not missing anything.
I know.
You really don't have to skim too far to start finding the fetish stuff. It's just what's beyond typical DeviantArt fetish stuff. That's
Everywhere the light touches is our land. Except that dark place with all the weird crap. Do not go there, Simba. That is the dark side of the internet.
Okay, going to start wrapping things up here on that kind of. I'm just going to say this much. Explore certain parts of DeviantArt at your own risk. I'm not going to say don't do it because I do that stuff because I'm morbidly curious. I'm one of those kinds of people. Just explore those areas with caution, and it's your own fault if you find something you don't want to see.
Yeah, if you do go on DeviantArt, I should probably note that these two lovely people who I'm talking to right now do have really good active DeviantArt pages that you guys should totally check out.
Well, I wouldn't say mine's active.
I just discovered you on DeviantArt today, and I'm going to follow you soon. That being said, I don't use DeviantArt anymore. The only reasons why you actually no, I don't use DeviantArt. I used it. I look at it occasionally, and I occasionally favorite some things, but I don't really go to it actively because I don't know. I guess I lost interest in that website.
Cartoon critics, it is dangerous. To which I reply to you, then let's get dangerous.
Yeah. Another thing is I can't even search for stock images on DeviantArt without things getting weird. And I'm freaking looking for stock images.
Gonna get a little weird. Gonna get a little. Oh God, what was that? Backspace, backspace.
Would you mind if I wrote that down and passed it on to my buddy on Talking Rainbows, Talking Puppies?
Yeah, that's fine.
That'd be a fantastic opener, or at least I think so. I'm hell-bent on opening up one of those episodes with that. I will find a way. Okay, good night, everybody.
Aloha.
Good night, everybody. Love you all.